Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Bottom Line. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil. Our show is brought to you by UCAN. On today's episode, we have Dex Hopkins and Chase Ingraham discussing whether bringing back super teams makes the division more interesting or maybe, in fact, less interesting. Now, CrossFit, they recently announced those changes to the game season structure, and there were some things that they changed about teams. What we do know is anyone can join an affiliates team as long as each athlete performs all of the open tests at an affiliate's physical location. Although we don't yet have the rule book, there's nothing that requires teams, at least yet, to live within a certain distance of the team registered affiliate. Dex, you've been on a super team. Do you prefer the format that allows something like that?
I've done both. My favorite was 6-person teams, and I now understand the chaos that is for all involved parties. Even the people like having to put a 6-person team together and get 6 people that like each other. But doing the 4-person thing, I thought it was great. And I think if you do the 4-person thing like this, it has to be the Wild Wild West, because then you take away the rich advantage. You take away, there are no random pockets really where they are like a super team. Are there like affiliate teams that go to the games? Absolutely. Salt Lake's one of them. They put out 2 with really homegrown 2 teams. I think it was like black and blue, right? They had a guy at Clean and Jerk 405 several years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're going to do it, it has to be the Wild Wild West. Go where you want. And I think the only stipulation they've released is you have to do all the open workouts at that affiliate, which is cool. The coolest thing at CrossFit Maximus we used to do was the last Friday Night Lights, we would all do it. Me, Chris Wall, like the whole squad would do it. And it was awesome. People show up. That 5th week was really hard to get people to show up. And so, kept the interest high. But yeah, my favorite version of the 4-person thing, I'm very biased because we had a really good team the COVID year. Me, Chris Harris, Brooke Hawson, and Kelly Baker, and we never got to go show it. But it was because those rules facilitated that.
Meat Squad.
I loved making people say that over the last
name.
RIP Ramwad. And but yeah, I think it's the best way to do it. You have to take all the weird rules, because there's only one, maybe 2 people that can say, "Hey man, I've said it a bunch of times here. Drop your life, move on to Cookville, baby. We got a job for you. Airbnbs you can stay at. Dad cooks wild game all the time. Come hang out." So yeah, got to do it.
Chase, as an analyst, as a sports fan, as somebody who's been in the space for a while, you've seen both ways. Do you think that it's more interesting if we bring back super teams and we can have the development of maybe some of the individual athletes who have retired start to create teams?
I think it's more interesting on paper. It has yet to be proven.
Is that super teams though, or teams in general?
So if you look at the rich era of teams starting in 2015, taking out last year's absolute ass whooping up and down Madison, the biggest whooping they gave the field was in 2019 by almost 200 points in the era of the easiest qualifying super team setup ever. And it was the worst year of team competition. So it has yet to be proven that this is good. On paper, it was really exciting. It's like, these people are all over the world and they qualified through this sanctional and this and that. And then we got to the games and it was like, didn't matter. In fact, it was the worst team competition we've had since 2021, which was even worse last year. So we got to talk about it a lot. It makes it really exciting in the Aussie. And it's like this great super team, yet it has not been proven to actually unfold well on the competition floor. That being said, it is fun to talk about. I am excited that these new changes make it easier for teams to build rosters. I would also throw in is, okay, we got rid of, say, these boundaries that we think of, right? The rule book's coming out in November. We should also throw out the affiliate cup title moving forward. Let's just call it what it is. It's a CrossFit Games team competition. The affiliates have little to zero involvement with this other than a place to house 4 athletes to do the open and quarterfinals.
And they make you use the name. They do make you use the name.
Name out there. They're trying, but
I agree with that.
Let's just call it what it is. Put the affiliate in there. Cool. We'll read them on the leaderboard, but to push this affiliate cup agenda, I think it's just unnecessary.
The agenda.
Do you think that this at all takes away from the affiliates though? And I even think of some of the athletes that literally have uprooted and moved their entire lives essentially for one season.
I don't think it takes away. I think when you got away
No.
from 6-person teams, I mean, like Chase said, it's not the same, right? We had, 6 people that 3 were members, 3 were coaches. And it was very homegrown-ish. That was it. They were all really good athletes. The year before I got there, they had went to the games. And I just, a guy was doing something, took him away, and I took his spot. But yeah, I think that was the peak 6-person teams. And 2017 was the last year. That was my last year going, and it was awesome. And that was the year we got to see Frowny Face Rich. With the Wasatch Brute thing, just
what's the
stop the mayhem,
the Kalil Norman Rich?
Yeah. And I think that was, yes, that is the tie the affiliate to it. And like the things they're doing for the Open this year, driving people back to doing it at the affiliate and all these things, I love that. I think that's awesome. If you're gonna team now, to me, like exactly what Chase said, I agree with that, is not an affiliate thing anymore. The cup was dead in 2017 to me. And then the Rich advantage takes over. And like you have people like last year, like Andy's team try to shoot a shot, but then, there's always kind of some unforeseen this and that naggy things that happen. And you hate to see it because I feel like they had a really good shot at like that maybe could have been, Frowny Face year, Rich too, but turned out probably even if she was healthy, no. Cormier was a ridiculous level up. I mean, you got to think, man, the guys he's had there, Chase Hill, great athlete, was not the strongest guy. That was kind of the thing. 2015, the first year, they had Mother Mayhem. I always forget her name. She's a sweet lady.
Yeah, Mother Mayhem.
Murdered everybody. I'm telling you, I remember running the berm and him and Matt, or I guess who shall not be named, I know they don't talk anymore, pushing her over the berm, dude. And they still destroyed everybody. And that was when Raffet was there. And but
they can thank a knee injury to NorCal for that win.
Yeah. Oh, I was there. That was definitely a knee injury, and they wanted to keep going with 5. Like, and some of the workouts they probably could have done with 5 and been fine. Like, they were really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Miranda. But that's the heyday to me of 6-people teams and all the terrible things that come with getting 6 people together and the monotony, like almost boring unless you're involved or you have someone closely involved of watching it, programming for it. I can't imagine announcing it. Even at regionals, dude, it was chaos.
Yeah.
The 4-person thing is way more fun to watch. I think capacity wise, it demands more from the athletes as a team. It takes out a lot of the individual relay stuff. And then my favorite thing is when you almost strictly have to work as a team. There's no individual relay. There's, no things like that. It's got to be a cohesive unit team event. And so those are always my favorite. But if you're going to do it, this is how you have to. And I think the affiliate cup died in 2017 as it was, actual affiliates.
And I don't think it was due to like rules or regulations. I just think that was the evolution of the sport. Like you were saying, is that teams used to be consisted of the athletes that had almost like the most time to put aside to be competitive. And that was usually coaches or the affiliate owners. And that's what consisted of the field. And right. And then these individual athletes would get success and then get more popular. And then as the team competition evolved, athletes got better, they got more time on their hands. And then you start these, online training programs. This was before even training camps. And then they started following that and they stopped doing the affiliate programming. And then they kind of disassociated themselves with the affiliates and created teams within the confines of 4 walls in an affiliate. But then they started using like goofy names, like whatever your Bromwad Locker, whatever.
Great, dude. Top 10 name. Top 10. Maybe possibly the best name.
So it's more of an evolution of things than it is like, oh, the games are just letting this thing go and let it die. It's like, listen, we're just growing past that. And if we want to say, well, do super teams make the team division more interesting? I think unequivocally, yes, as far as the conversations we can have going in. But as I led this thing off, is that it's just hasn't been proven yet. We had a very small sample size, a solid year of super teams, and then kind of the rules that we've had and forward. So I'm looking forward to the changes. I think, just being real with what we have going on the team side so we can all get behind it and move forward will be another part of letting this be exciting.
This episode is brought to you by UCAN. Who can? You can. At least I can with UCAN with one of their easy squeeze pouches that give me the energy I need to get through my workout without causing a crash. When I work out early in the morning but don't want to on an empty stomach because we know mid-wan I'm going to be hangry, I grab one of their super easy on the stomach bars. Chocolate almond butter? Yes, please. I may not be a games athlete yet, but UCAN helps me stay focused and energized during my workouts. It delivers steady release carbs for long-lasting energy without spiking blood sugar levels, the key to sustaining peak performance and focus and recording videos like these. Trusted by top CrossFit pros like Scott Panchik and Emily Rolfe, get your hands on these goodies and even save 20% on your first order with our code CHALKUP, link in the description. Now back to the episode. Well, in thinking about this, I feel like there is always a conversation about getting more eyeballs to watch the team division. It's always been a struggle unless the schedule really allows it and people like aren't watching individuals to go to the teams. So with super teams and hopefully having it for more than just 1 year, is this the direction that the sport should be moving in to get more eyeballs on the team division?
I think so. I mean, it's the same for the crazy generation of people coming up through the teen division. I think like Emma Carey and Mal and all them will make people go watch, you know, because it's, I mean, I hate it because I'll go shoot these people like Jen Ryan last year and like the Masters athletes. Like there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in age groups. And I think the light of them coming out into the elite division is going to trickle down to that. And there'll be more spectators there. It's really hard to do 4 teams exactly because of what you're saying. Like while the individuals are in the Coliseum, we're on the field. And so, you know, it's rough to do, man. But I think the future of it or progression is now that's going to be the retirement plan for a lot of people, as seen in the template laid out by old Rich. And I know a lot of people that are planning to do that soon.
You've had Noah talk about it. Chandler's talk about it as like a retirement plan, so to speak. And you look at events like Wadapalooza, and I would almost say more fun to watch is 3-person teams of, you know, 3 men, 3 women. And like, you know, the competitions that we had last year were incredible.
Insane.
And all that was due to the level of competition and how close it was. But that was also because the level of competitors that were doing it. And as more of these competitors, individuals start bleeding into the team competition, I think that should eventually, with good distribution of talent, add to the value of the brand and competition on the floor, not just names on a roster like we've had in the past.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine like if the field is peppered with teams because there's flash in the pan, like challengers to the throne, right? Like last year it's Andy's team and, you know, a few others, like the Philly team, Kelsey Kill's team.
OBA.
OBA. I was gonna say OBO, dummy. OBA, yeah. And so could you imagine if the field's peppered with teams like that, where these, because I mean, you got to think coming out of that, like a Chandler Noah, you have the means, not attached to any camp, but attached to like sponsors. And so you have the means to organize those things. You have a pretty central location that, I mean, hell, ain't nobody upset about moving to Miami if you got to go hang out with Noah. On top of Noah's a great dude. But if the field is peppered with that, then it makes it way, you know, because right now, like Chase said, that's absolutely more exciting to talk about the execution, all those things, especially like this year, like unforeseen stuff that keeps people from actually challenging the throne. But if it's people that are seasoned and staying healthy and the war of attrition through the season, and you know, Lauren's had a history of that, so it's kind of, you know, on brand for that. But if it's a field of those people, well, then, you know, now there's people that probably come just to watch some teams. They're going to go and try to do all of it. And then I think that kind of pressures them to schedule it a little different, you know, because at the end of the day, it's how they schedule things. It's going to do the flow of that. It's way easier to keep your seat in the field and just watch whatever's coming through there than it is like the Coliseum and stuff like that. So I'd like to see that.
Okay, so Rich, he has a couple different times alluded that he's going to retire. If he doesn't, if he stays with Mayhem Freedom, is there a team out there that we think will actually challenge them and dethrone?
Where are the girls going?
Exactly. That's the question. It is always a girls' race.
But Andrea Nisler, her and Rich said, like, if one retires, the other is going to retire.
So it's like wide open.
Right.
I've competed against them on different teams at different stages. And every year they are leap and bound scarier.
Yeah.
Leaps and bounds. Those two are the fittest
How many
ones
other
to do
girls
it
are
on
in?
teams. Terrifying.
You don't think
I love
any
girls.
other female athletes that are out there could enter a team that could take them on because of the women on Mayhem Freedom?
If they kept the women and say you keep Cormier and maybe a Luke Parker comes over and takes Rich's spot, that kind of scenario.
Oslo.
Or Oslo. Oslo,
Yeah.
is it blue? Is it Oslo blue with the
Navy
blue? Yeah, those two girls are freaks for sure. So
Yeah.
I think they're awesome.
And they're just getting better.
They are getting better. They are not Taylor and Andrea.
No.
They're like I used to think, I thought Taylor and Andrea were so good they could have went indie. And I know teams have a very specific skill set normally, and that's why all those people are so good because their individual capacity.
Well, Andrea Tennant qualified in 2020.
Yeah. I think both of them did, didn't they?
Stage 1. I don't know. I think Taylor might have just missed.
Oh, yeah. But there's not two better girls on a team. Can you step into it with a big individual resume? Absolutely. There is a learning curve to learn. There's a learning curve to adjusting your speed to other people and communicating and getting to where there's a nonverbal communication. You just know each other's flow. And that's why those people are so good in Cookville, is because they live together. They do it every day. You got to be on your P's and Q's. We've heard Rich threaten to kick people out of the barn if they didn't act right. So I mean, it's,
Now I would say the same thing if it's like, hey, it's Taylor and Andrea, and then I'm like, well, what's Rich doing?
Dude, I'm telling you, watching him coach at Mac, he loved it. He was raging. I think Kotler's one of my favorite people to sit, not watch the action and watch his reactions, because you can see what's going on. He's pacing up and down the things. His head's turning red. He's yelling and pointing. I love it. It reminds me
that's my athletic. It's like I want to be coached by that guy.
Yeah, dude, he's a psychopath, and I love it. And so that's my favorite thing to watch. Rich had a way better seat. He's on the sideline in the media pit because he's Rich, doing the same thing, losing his mind. And more so, they listened, right? He's giving Luke stuff to do, especially on the snatch side of thing. But I mean, you got to think how many years he's done what you need to do and no more than that to win, and that trickles into the team things. I think Luke wanted to snatch some insane thing just for the sake of doing it. He's like, you don't need that, and they do it, win the event. I mean, they smashed everybody, but they're not the only team, right? They had two this year, three. They had three. All their media guys qualified on the team. So yeah, I want to say, dudes, Rich is Rich for sure. All the dudes there fit. Those girls are not interchangeable for those two, maybe on the other two teams, but those two to sit on top of the mountain and look down on everyone, you can almost, because they're going to bully some dudes into being good. And that is not a joke. That is a history. So
Chase, what's your bottom line?
Things to lead off. I like that the game season is making it easier for this to happen, which I think that'll bring in more individual talent to the pool of team athletes. So I think on the horizon, we do have the potential to have it much more exciting. I will still be reserved until that competition actually takes place in Madison.
Fair.
Chase has to deal with it.
Dex, what's your bottom line?
It's good biz. If we're not going to do hardcore affiliate teams, this is the wild, wild west that is necessary to facilitate at least good conversations on the front end. Best case, hopefully really good races, events, and all the things that kind of draws the field even. Like we're talking about, it's a pretty crapshoot for who's going to be plugged in for Mayhem. But yeah, this is not a bad thing to me. I think it opens the doors, like I said, for a lot of people that are trying to get into it from the individual field. Maybe you're done with the year-long hurt. But there's no bad things for this, especially since we're going to admit the affiliate cup's dead. So
we shall see how it all plays out. Thanks, Chase. Thanks, Dex. We'll see you guys next time.